Hello. So what I'd like to do today is to go ahead and cover an aspect of N64 game collecting that I think gets often overlooked. And that is one of the cooler subsets, in my opinion, that is out there. A lot of times people focus on the major sets, the Japanese, the PAL, the US, but they forget about a lot of these other lesser known subsets that are out there that are really pretty unique, some cases pretty rare, and just a lot of fun to try and track down and find. So the subset that I want to cover today, which exists technically under the Japanese umbrella, is the Asian subset. Now, the Asian subset has several distinctions that really make it stand out from its Japanese counterparts, but I do want to clarify that there is some confusion out there, particularly if you're looking on eBay, where people confuse other subsets with the Asian one. So, for example, I've seen listings for the Korean subset, games for them, and they'll call them Asian, but they're not really Asian. They're actually the Korean subset. And the same thing for the Singapore, Indonesia, Malaysia subset. They're their own distinct subset, just as the Korean is, just as the Asian is. So, if you're seeing that come up, just take a look there at the label, and it'll tell you pretty quick, which one it belongs to. So I'm going to go ahead and cover the differences right now between the Asian subset and its Japanese counterparts. So this is the lone Asian version that I have right now, and that is for Aero Fighters Assault. So the first thing that stands out on the Asian variant is this orange-yellow label right there. It's in the same spot where in the US we would find the ESRB logo there for the rating. But what it does is it clarifies that it is the Asian version, and it's not for sale and use in Japan, and not compatible with a US and PAL version Nintendo 64 control deck. That's what it says right there. So it clearly states it is the Asian version and what it is compatible with and what it isn't compatible with. Now, technically, this is not entirely correct. It is fully compatible with a US or Japanese deck. All you really need to do is either do a back swap, or you can do a tray mod, just like you would for playing Japanese games on US or vice versa. That's all you need to do, and an Asian cart will pop in, play fine. It's 100% compatible. They're NTSC, so they use the same standard as US and Japan. The big thing that's a selling point for those of us here in North America is the Asian versions, unlike a lot of the Japanese titles, are all in English. It's literally the exact same game board. I've played this guy, played the other versions of it or whatever, and it's literally the exact same game board. The menu's 100% in English, all the voices are in English. You will have no problem whatsoever. As long as your console's modified, you can pop one of these things in there and you could go ahead and just play it. No problem whatsoever. No language issues whatsoever with these. So that's a huge selling point, in my opinion, for the Asian versions, is that you don't have to worry about those language barrier issues with these. On the back, they look really similar to the back of a Japanese cart, but there are some distinctions. Like the Japanese will say like game cassette instead of game pack. And then it's hard to see here, it probably won't show up very well, but it actually, on this top line here, it actually does say Asian version on it. So this back label is distinct to the Asian version, even though it looks an awful lot like the one that you'd see on the back of a Japanese cart. So, it has the same tabs there, but once again, a back swap or a tray mod will make those irrelevant. So, anyway, now, as far as cost goes, I'm not going to lie, some of these things can be really hard to find and stupidly expensive. So you really have to kind of be patient and take your time, particularly if you're going to try and buy them on eBay. This particular guy right here, I paid just over $40 for the loose cart, just like this. But it's in pretty good shape, almost perfect condition, a couple of little tiny minor wear marks on that. But it's generally intact and in good shape. And I paid just over $40 for it. admittedly, Aerofighter's Assault is probably the easiest Asian version to find. Although most of them that you'll see are complete in box. So if you're looking for loose cards, it might be actually a little bit more of a challenge. Just find one in good shape at a decent price. You know, to my knowledge, I'm only aware of 10 Asian versions there's only 10 of them that in that subset. But I want to clarify, I've only done preliminary research on it. So it's entirely possible that the subset is actually quite a bit bigger and it just hasn't been very well documented. So you may end up finding some additional ones that are out there, or if you live in the market where these things were originally distributed, you might be aware of a whole bunch of others that we're not aware of. So, in the comments section, I will try and do my best to post which ones that I'm aware of that exist that have the Asian version variant. Anyways, as I said, it's one of those things where I think that, rather than being, the fifth guy that week who thumps his chest about picking up Clay Fighter Sculptor's Cut, why not go for something like this at a much lower cost that's actually a lot more unique, in my opinion. You could sit there and say, okay, well, maybe there were millions of copies released in the home market, in whatever parts of Asia that they were released. But on the flip side of that, you could also sit there and say, hey, yeah, that's great, but show me another one. So, to my knowledge, I'm on groups with thousands of people, and I've only found a handful of people that have any of these, even just like a copy like I have of Aerofighter's Assault, the Asian variant. So as I said, it's one of those things where you want to look at it and go, okay, if you want something that stands out in your collection and would be a good bang for buck, the Asian subset would be a fun one to go out there and get. And as I said, it's kind of like a treasure hunt. So, there is that aspect to it. But anyways, I figured I'd show you that. And just as kind of a parting thing here, I do want to clarify that this is actually the MSA or Mexico South American variant of Aerofighter's Assault, but it's the exact same label as the US variant, just a slight difference in the serial number on the bottom. That's the only difference. So if you take a look here on this one here, the MSA or US version, you get the front end of an A10 Thunderbolt, and on the Asian version, it looks like you're getting the back end of an F-14 there. So there are some other differences on the labels, and it's just kind of fun to go out there and see the differences between the labels on the games that were released in different parts of the world. And anyways, that's all I've got, and thanks for watching.